Hi everyone and welcome to TechCravers. Today we're bringing back a legend. That's right, we're reviving the Nintendo Wii. But not just any Wii, we're giving it a new life in a sleek, modern handheld form. Imagine booting up your favorite Wii games without any clunky Wiimotes, no sensor bars and absolutely no awkward IR setups. Just pure portable Wii goodness, controlled entirely by the built-in buttons and sticks on your handheld. In this video, I'll show you how to install the best emulator for the job, set up your controls for all the different ways Wii games were meant to be played, and transform your device into the ultimate portable Wii experience. It's easier than you think, and honestly, it's pretty darn fun too. And as a little bonus, of course, we're throwing in a little GameCube while we're at it as well. So if you're even half as excited as I am, let's jump into it. Alright, so to build your very own ultimate portable Wii handheld, you're gonna need a few things. First and most importantly, it's of course your handheld of choice. And let's be honest, this is where a lot of people lose focus. The handheld scene has exploded in the last few years and there's so much to choose from that it's easy to feel overwhelmed. But here's the good news. Emulating the Nintendo Wii is no longer reserved for chunky powerhouses like gaming laptops. These days, a lot of modern handhelds can handle it no problem. Sure, you could go safe route and use something like the Steam Deck. It's overkill in the best way, but for this project I wanted something a little more portable. So I'll be using my Odin 2 Mini, but there are great budget-friendly options out there as well, like the Retroid Pocket 5 or Anbernics RG556. Just keep one thing in mind, the more powerful your chipset, the less tweaking you'll need to get Wii games running smoothly, especially if you want to bump up the resolution. The Wii originally ran at 640x480, but ideally we want at least 720p, that's twice the native resolution to really make those games shine. Now the second thing you need is, of course, your Nintendo Wii game dumps. I've got mine stored on this little external hard drive here, and conveniently it has USB-C, so I will just have to plug it into my handheld and transfer the games. But you can of course just put them on a micro SD card as well if your handheld supports it. There are a few different ways to dump your own games, and I personally used my modded Wii U with custom firmware, and there are plenty of great tutorials for that right here on YouTube. But when you have that, that's pretty much it. A handheld, some clean game dumps, and we're ready to rock. And once you got everything you need, it's time to grab the real magic behind this project, the emulator. And for this mission, we're going with the one and only Dolphin Emulator. If you've ever dabbled into GameCube or Wii emulation before, chances are that you've heard of Dolphin. It's pretty much the go-to solution whether you're on PC, Linux or Android. Here's the important part though. There are several different versions of Dolphin floating around. There's the Play Store version and there are a bunch of forks out there online, some tweaked for different handhelds. But we're going with the third option, and honestly the one I recommend. And that is the latest development built straight from Dolphin's website. This version has all the latest features, fixes and performance improvements, especially useful on newer handhelds. So open up your browser on your handheld and click the first link in the video description, and that will take you directly to Dolphin's homepage. Once there, hit the download button, scroll down a little and look for the development releases section. Then just grab the latest version for Android and you're ready to go. You might need to allow your browser to do changes on your device depending on what security settings you're on. Once Dolphin is installed, it's time to transfer your games. You can do this in a couple of different ways, either from an external hard drive like I'm doing here, or by using a micro SD card loaded with your games. I personally use an app called Z Archiver to move my game files from my external drive to the device itself. It's simple, lightweight and gets the job done. That said, you can use any file manager that you're comfortable with, as long as it lets you copy the files over to your handheld's internal storage. And hey, if you're using a micro SD card and have your games already on there, you're golden, you can just run them straight from the card, no need to transfer anything. And once your games are stored in a place you can easily find, it's time to launch Dolphin Emulator. And when you open it up, tap the blue button in the bottom right corner. That's where you tell Dolphin where your games are located. And by default, Dolphin will open up the internal storage of your device, but if you're keeping your games on a micro SD card, you need to do an extra step. Tap the menu icon in the top left corner and then select your micro SD card from the list. And once you have selected the right folder, click on the blue button that says use this folder and Dolphin will scan it, and boom, your Wii games should show up in the main menu ready to go. Depending on the power of your handheld, you might want to kick things up a notch visually. To do that, start by tapping the cogwheel icon to open up Dolphin's settings and then head into graphics settings. Scroll down just a bit until you find the enhancement section and then tap on internal resolution. This is where the magic happens. You can bump it up to 2 times or even 3 times native resolution. That's 720p or 1080p, and trust me, your games are going to look way better. If your device struggles or have frame dips, no worries, you can always come back here later and lower it again. And don't forget, once you have made your changes, go back to the main game selection screen to make sure your settings are saved. And now comes the fun part, setting up all the different Wii control styles. We'll go through everything from Wiimote and Nunchuk, to sideways Wiimote, and even the Wii Classic controller, here visualized by the Switch Pro controller, since I don't own a Wii Classic controller anymore. But first, there's something important to understand. Most Android handhelds let you switch between Nintendo and Xbox layout in the system settings. On my Odin Mini, the buttons are physically in Xbox layout, but when I select Odin as the controller profile, it uses Nintendo layout. That means when I press A on my Odin, the system thinks I'm pressing B. Confusing? Yes. But just remember what layout you have picked, and I'll help you mapping buttons in Dolphin. The first controller we're setting up is the Wii Classic controller, often used in games like Call of Duty or other FPS titles on the Wii. Start by tapping the cogwheel icon and then go to Wii Input. Make sure Wii Remote 1 is set to emulate that Wii Remote. Then tap the cogwheel on the right. Under Devices, choose either Xbox or Odin depending on what your handheld uses. Scroll down a bit, and this time we can skip the regular Wiimote buttons since we're not using those here. Instead, tap on Extension and then select Classic. Then tap the cogwheel on the right to start mapping your buttons. Feel free to follow along with my button layout if you want my recommended setup, but of course you're free to map the controls however you like. Just remember what I told you earlier, since I'm using the Odin with the Nintendo layout, I'm mapping the A button on the Classic controller to my Odin's physical B button, etc. A little confusing, I know, but I'm guessing you got the hang of it by now. Alright, let's keep up. ZL and ZR goes to my shoulder buttons, minus is mapped to select, and plus goes to start. The home button isn't really needed here, so I'm skipping that. The left stick is mapped to, you guessed it, my left stick, and the right stick to my right stick. Both sets of triggers, digital and analog, are mapped to my handheld's analog shoulder buttons. And finally, the D-pad is mapped to the D-pad. Simple as that. Now this next part is important. Once you're done mapping your buttons, go back one step and scroll up to Profiles. Tap on it, and if the menu don't show up right away, try dragging it up from the bottom. Here you can save your controller setup as a profile, which is super useful so you don't have to redo it every time. I'm tapping the save icon next to New Profile and then I name it Classic Controller. Once it's saved, I can go back to my games, long press the one I want and tap Edit Game Settings. Then I go to Wii Input, tap the cogwheel to the right, and under Profiles I select the one I just made. That's it. From now on, this game will remember your settings, no need to reconfigure it every time you launch it. Next up is the Wii Remote with the attached Nunchuk, probably the most common way to play games like Super Mario Galaxy. Start by tapping the cogwheel and then go to Wii Input. As before, make sure Wii Remote 1 is set to the emulated Wii Remote, then tap the cogwheel to the right of the screen. Scroll down a bit to Extension and select Nunchuk. Then scroll up a bit and tap on Buttons under the Wii Remote section to start your mapping. And for this setup, I'm mapping the A button to my device's X button, or Y if you're using the Nintendo layout. The B button, and that's the trigger on the Wiimote, is mapped to my right analog trigger. The 1 button goes to my B button, and 2 is mapped to my A button. And I really can't stress this enough, make sure you know which controller layout you're using. If you're using the same layout as me, then you can just follow along and copy exactly how I map everything. Minus and plus are once again set to select and start, and just like before, I'm skipping the home button. The D-pad is then mapped to my D-pad, and then you're done here, so go back one step. Now tap on Motion Simulation, and this is where we map the simulated IR pointer, you know, that lovely feature we all remember from the Wiimote. The most logical setup here is to map it to your device's right analog stick. Then scroll down a bit to relative input, and this part's quite important. If you turn it off, your pointer will always snap back to the center of the screen. If you leave it on, it'll behave more like a mouse cursor and stay where you last left it. Totally up to you, try both and see what feels the best. Once done, just go back one step, since we're finished here. And lastly, it's time to configure the Nunchuk, so scroll down a bit and tap on the cogwheel on the right side of the screen next to Nunchuk. I'm mapping the C button to my handheld's left shoulder button and the Z button to my left analog trigger. And then just map the Nunchuk stick to your left stick. Now scroll down a bit until you reach the shake section. Some games require that you shake the Nunchuk, so we need to map that, or at very least map the X-axis under shake. I'm assigning it to my right shoulder button. And that's actually it, we're finally done with this hideous control scheme. Now go back one step and tap Profiles to save your setup. I'm naming mine Wiimote plus Nunchuk. Then, just like before, long press the game you want to use the profile with. Tap Edit Game Settings, go into Wii Input, tap on the cogwheel and select your newly created Wiimote plus Nunchuk profile. That's it, saved and ready to go. And lastly, we're creating a controller profile for games that use the sideways Wiimote, like New Super Mario Bros. Wii or Donkey Kong Country Returns. So once again, click on the cogwheel and then tap on Wii Input. Make sure it still says Emulated Wii Remote under Wii Remote 1 and then tap on Buttons under the Wiimote section to start mapping. Follow my layout as I go, and once you've mapped your D-pad, back out one step and go into the motion simulation settings. Here, start by mapping the pointer to one of your sticks. I'm using my right stick here once again. Honestly, I'm not even sure how many sideways Wiimote games actually use the pointer, but better safe than sorry. After that, scroll down to the shake section. The sideways Wiimote relied quite a bit on shake controls. And here I'm mapping the X-axis to my right shoulder button, Y to my left analog trigger, and Z to my right analog trigger. Once you're done mapping everything here, back out and scroll all the way down to the bottom. Here's where the magic happens. Tap the sideways Wii Remote button to let Dolphin know this profile is for tilted Wiimote setup. Then scroll back up, tap on Profiles and save your layout. I'm naming mine something like Sideways Wiimote. After that, head back to your games, long press the ones you want and assign this newly created profile just like before. Alright, we're finally done with what's hands down the most annoying part of emulation in my opinion, Wii controller mapping. I really hope this guide was helpful and saves you from some headaches I had figuring it all out. If it did help, don't forget to like the video, it really helps the channel. Now, as a little bonus, you probably noticed our GameCube section is still empty. Just tap Add Games and this time browse to the folder on your device where you have stored your GameCube games. Dolphin will automatically add them to the GameCube menu and even pull in the cover art for you. Now, what you want to do is to make those GameCube games look even better. So tap the cogwheel and then go into Graphics Settings. Then scroll down to Enhancement and then tap on Internal Resolution. Here you can boost the resolution from the native 640x480 up to 720p or even 1080p. For most handheld screens, 720p is more than enough though. It looks sharp and still runs great. Now go back a few steps until you reach the main settings menu. Tap on GameCube Input, and make sure controller 1 is set to standard controller. Then tap the cogwheel on the right side. Under device, make sure your controller is selected, I'm choosing Odin here, then just scroll down and start mapping your GameCube controls. The mapping this time is thankfully very straightforward. Just tap each button on your device that matches the same button on a GameCube controller. No weird shake controls or IR pointing, just simple classic button mapping. The GameCube didn't use a proper right stick, but as you probably remember, it had that awkward little C stick. So I'm mapping that to my right stick for a more natural feel on a modern handheld. And you can map L, R, L analog and R analog to your handheld's left and right analog triggers respectively. Finally, map your D-pad, and once you're done with that, you can back out to your games and you're ready to play your old GameCube favorites. Alright, that's it. We have brought the Nintendo Wii back to life in a handheld form, installed Dolphin, transferred our games, and set up 3 different controller profiles: Classic Controller, Wiimote plus Nunchuk, and Sideways Wiimote. We also added GameCube games with proper upscaling and controller mapping. Honestly, this was a bit of a deep dive, but now hopefully your handheld is fully loaded and ready to run some of the best Nintendo titles ever made. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and maybe even share it with a friend who's also into handheld emulation. Also, let me know in a comment down below how it went for you. Thanks for watching, and as always, see you in the next one. TechCravers out.